I was 22, and it seemed like I was right on the path to success. I checked all the right boxes. I got good grades all throughout high school. I graduated with honors from Harvard University. I secured a corporate job with a competitive salary at the center of Boston. Yet, it was my very first day of work that had me asking myself, is this how I would define success? I joined the 6 p.m. employee crowd, exiting the office, walked to my train, got off 25 minutes later, and walked to my apartment building. I ran up the stairs to my bedroom, shut the door, leaned on the wall, and slowly slid down to the floor, where I finally burst into tears. Is this what the rest of my life is going to look like? Who signed me up for this? At the sound of that last question, all the life decisions that I didn't take ownership of flashed before my eyes. When I realized that alpine skiing was not my sport, yet I continued doing it competitively for years. When deep down, I knew I didn't want to study economics, yet I applied for it anyway. And finally, when I knew that a traditional 9-to-5 wasn't my cup of tea, I drank it regardless. So is it really a surprise that I find myself on my bedroom floor covered in tears? I spent years mindlessly going through the motions, and it finally caught up to me. But for what felt like the first time, I refused to quiet my intuition. Not again. Not this time. I knew it was time to pick up the pen and start writing my own story. When I later recalled my experience to a close friend of mine, she tried to assure me that it was normal to cry after the first day of work. It happens to lots of people, she said. And I know she had good intentions when she said it, but all I could think about was, why is this normalized? Why are we so quick to settle for a life that doesn't excite or fulfill us? For a life that deep down doesn't feel right? I felt conflicted because I knew that many would consider me incredibly lucky to have landed a fancy corporate job in the United States of America that provided a generous compensation and a satisfactory work-life balance. I recognized that it was a privilege to even consider leaving this path. But was that a good enough reason to stay? I asked myself how I would feel if I were to wake up 20 years from that day on the same trajectory that I was on. While I did see myself being successful by every external measure, I also saw myself unfulfilled, filled with regret, and wishing I would have listened to my gut earlier. That's how I knew that settling would be a huge disservice to myself. My intuition spoke loudly to me that day, and I vowed to never quiet it in favor of comfort and social conforming. Now, unlocking that awareness was instrumental in preventing the effortless complacency that usually comes with a comfortable job. But awareness on its own was not sufficient to break me out of the patterns of behavior that I was conditioned to follow my whole life. My entire life path was setting me up for a corporate career. Was a life outside of the 9-to-5 even possible for me? I had a broad vision of working remotely from around the world on my passions while helping others improve their lives. But at the time, I didn't even know which of those passions to focus on or what kind of help I would or could be providing. Naturally, I thought that coming up with a strategy must be the answer. I spent a couple of weeks researching different ways I could make money online, and given my marketing experience, I decided I was going to start a social media agency. I took an online course teaching me the skill. I signed up a free client to get a testimonial. I did everything I was supposed to do. However, after a couple of months on the journey, I found out that my US visa didn't allow for self-employment. At that first sign of an obstacle, I gave up. I didn't even try to challenge it. It was like having the pen and the outline, but no ink to write with. I realized that strategy was not the answer either, at least not on its own. There was one key ingredient missing that was truly holding me back. And that was belief. Belief that a life of freedom was possible for me. Stick with me. I know it sounds cliche. We've all heard the saying, believe you can, and you're halfway there. But like most cliches, there is some truth behind it. If you're still skeptical, let me give you a practical example to demonstrate this. Have any of you ever misplaced your headphones? Yep. Well, when that happened, you probably started off by looking for them in your bag, on your desk, maybe, in different pockets, and so on. But if you were unsuccessful after a few minutes of looking, it's very likely that you gave up in frustration. Now consider this scenario. Let's say that your friend tells you that they saw you put your headphones in your bag. This time, when you look in your bag, wouldn't you search every little compartment? Empty it, pat it down, do anything you can until you locate the headphones that you know are there? Even though you're carrying out the same action both times, looking for your headphones in your bag, when you act with certainty that you will be successful, you are relentless in the pursuit of your goals. And you don't let doubt get in the way and convince you to give up prematurely. Your beliefs directly impact your actions and your perseverance. At this realization, I started surrounding myself, mostly virtually, with people who led lives that I looked up to, so that I could bombard my subconscious with images of what is possible. I started setting small goals and achieving them, so that I could develop that belief in myself. And lastly, I started taking aligned action with my newly formed beliefs in order to strengthen them. When I opened myself to the possibilities, there were very few things that seemed impossible. So if you believe that you're meant for something other than a predetermined path that you didn't necessarily choose for yourself, then don't you owe it to yourself to at least try to pursue it? We live at a time when people are making a living from playing video games. Others are getting paid to travel the world, and others are meeting their soulmates by swiping right. So let me ask you this. Why aren't your dreams possible? How differently would you be showing up if you had unwavering trust that you would achieve your dream life? Belief alone may not take you all the way, but it can definitely add relentlessness to your action and patience to your journey. After 2 years of holding on to my vision, after working on my mindset and developing a deep belief, after saving every extra cent I earned because I knew it would be my ticket to freedom, I did it. I finally quit my job. Now, I know this doesn't sound like the classic fairy tale ending. I'm basically giving a speech about quitting. But this was also a speech about taking ownership of my life, of finally picking up the pen and becoming the author of my own story. Funnily enough, a couple of days after leaving my job, I got asked to give the very TED Talk you are currently listening to. I took that as a sign that when you follow your intuition and trust that things will work out, everything will start falling into place, even if you haven't mapped out the whole story yet. I'm not claiming to have figured everything out at the grand age of 25. In fact, I doubt I ever will. But I stopped waiting until I figured everything out before taking action. It is through action that I've been able to start developing clarity, not the other way around. If I waited until I figured out the ending of the story first, then I would probably still be waiting. And when I stopped waiting, I started causing ripples. After making the decision to let go of my secure job in search of more passionate, fulfilling work, my mom was inspired to leave her job after 30 years in order to follow her dream of becoming an interior designer. When you are authentic and unapologetic in the pursuit of your goals, what you set in motion is way bigger than your own dream. It is always a good time to start rewriting your story. And while it may never be too late, the earlier you do it, the better. Stop delegating your dreams to one day, and instead make today day one, and start with small, messy action. I started with what I knew and took it one step at a time. Personal development has been one of my biggest passions in the past few years, and it completely changed my life. I started sharing my message and personal transformation on social media, which led to people reaching out and asking for my advice, which led to me getting on calls with them to provide more personalized help, which led to me launching my private coaching program on mindset and personal development, which sold out within a couple of days. Each step revealed the next one. Similar to a car driving at night. At any given moment, the headlights only reveal the next 60 meters. Yet, you can cover hundreds of kilometers this way and finally arrive at your destination, because you only really need to see through the next few meters at a time. By staying committed to your bigger vision and trusting in the unfolding of your path, you can cover the distance from where you are to where you want to be, one step at a time. Through taking aligned action, learning and adjusting, I've been able to move forward and slowly start forming the life that I knew was out there for me. Now, I get to wake up excited every day to serve my clients on their own dream journey by helping them gain clarity, overcome limiting beliefs, adopt healthy habits, and transform into the best version of themselves. I'm still working on fulfilling other aspects of my vision, and I couldn't give you my 10-year plan to save my life. But I stay focused on writing one page at a time and have faith in the unfolding of my book of life. I will leave you with one question. Are you the author of your life? And if not, how can you pick up the pen? Thank you.